Whispers in the rain, a promise broken in Vancouver. Lila Grayson stood in the airy kitchen of their waterfront condo, her hands trembling as she clutched the pregnancy test. Rain tapped a restless beat against the glass wall overlooking the marina, where sailboats bobbed in the mist. She was still in her navy raincoat, soaked from the dash home after her shift at St. Paul's Hospital, where she worked as a pediatric nurse. Her auburn hair stuck to her forehead, her hazel eyes bright with what she'd hoped was good news. Across the island counter, Ethan Blackwell, tall, sharp-jawed, and restless, tugged off his scarf, his dark eyes fixed on the test's two bold lines. "What do you mean you're done?" Lila's voice quivered, sharp with disbelief. Ethan tossed his keys onto the counter, the clatter loud against the rain's hum. "The firm's scaling up. I'm heading to Tokyo next month. New branch, big stakes." His tone was flat, rehearsed. "Was gonna break it at dinner." Her heart leapt, grasping at hope. "So we'll go together, Ethan. This is our baby." He turned to the window, staring at the gray waves. "There's no together, Lila. I'm engaged to Naomi Sato. It's set." The words landed like a stone through glass. Lila's knees buckled, her hands gripping the counter's edge. "Naomi Sato? Your partner's daughter?" Her voice rose, cracking. "Since when?" "It's not personal," he said, facing her at last, his gaze cold as the bird inlet. "It's strategy. The Tokyo deal needs her family's backing." She laughed, a brittle, broken sound. "I'm pregnant with your kid, and you're calling it strategy?" Ethan grabbed his leather satchel, movements brisk. "You'll be sorted. Condo's yours. I'll have my people." "Your people?" She stepped closer, boots squeaking on the wet floor. "Look at me, Ethan. Tell me 2 years, every promise, every night, meant nothing." His eyes met hers, and what she saw froze her deeper than the rain. Emptiness. The man who'd kissed her under the Gastown steam clock, whispering forever, was a ghost. "I'm sorry," he said, voice mechanical, and headed for the door. He paused, not turning. "Funds'll hit your account by morning. Don't reach out." "Ethan," she rasped. But the door shut, the lock's click swallowed by the storm. Lila stood there, the test's faint beep a cruel echo. Her phone pinged on the counter. Nora Kim, her best friend from the hospital. "Baby news. How'd he take it?" Another ping, a news alert. Blackwell Ventures seals Tokyo expansion. CEO Ethan Blackwell to wed Naomi Sato. The floor tilted. She stumbled to the sink, nausea hitting hard. Not just the pregnancy, but the gut punch of it all. Her smartwatch buzzed. Urgent call from St. Paul's, a kid in distress. She rinsed her face, staring into the steel sink's reflection. Pale, hollow, but still Nurse Grayson. Kids needed her. She pocketed the test, a jagged keepsake, and texted Nora. "He's out. Tell you later." Peds now dot. In the elevator, her shoulders lifted despite the ache. 9 months to brace for solo motherhood. Right now, a child's life hung on her hands. Morning crept in, soggy and bleak, rain pooling on Robson Street. Lila stood at a BMO ATM, her card spitting access denied for the 5th time. She sagged against it, her nurse's scrubs damp under her coat, exhaustion from a night of stabilizing a toddler clashing with rising dread. Nora appeared. 2 double-doubles from Tim Hortons in hand, her short black hair dripping. "You look wrecked," she said, passing a cup. "He drained it all," Lila said, voice dull. "Savings, checking, even my own account." She flashed her phone, alerts stacking up like fallen leaves. Nora's grip tightened, coffee sloshing. "That's not legal. He can't touch your personal funds." "He did," Lila said, sipping. It tasted like ash against her nausea. "Condo locks are changed too. Tried after shift." "Bloody hell," Nora muttered, steering her away. "Where'd you sleep?" "Break room." Lila winced. "Morning sickness hates coffee now." "Crash at mine," Nora said, firm. "Gotta pull out since my roommate split." Lila's phone buzzed. Ethan's sister, Claire Blackwell, calling again. 8th try. She ignored it. "Covering his tracks, probably," she said. "Or clueless," Nora countered, pulling up a news site. Ethan Blackwell spotted in Tokyo with fiancée Naomi Sato. A photo of him. Suit sharp, Naomi's hand on his elbow, time-stamped 4 days back. He'd known. A nurse jogged up, breathless. Nurse Grayson, your patient, the preemie, she's spiking a fever. Lila handed the coffee back, squaring up. Call Dr. Singh for support. I'm there in a minute. To Nora. Later? Kids first, Nora said, nodding. Life fixed second. The next 5 hours were a blur. Monitors wailing, tiny lungs fighting, a wind snatched from chaos. When Lila stepped out, sweat-soaked and steady, her phone showed 9 missed calls from Claire and a text from an unknown number. Legal papers arriving PM. Sign required. She was reading it when Nora found her. You're with me? Nora said, no debate. My cousin's boxing up your stuff. We'll hit the condo after shift. Lila's eyes stung, tears threatening. I can't. You will, Nora cut in, fierce. New account at lunch. RBC's round the corner. Granola bars in my bag for the sickness. My brother's a lawyer. He'll gut this prick legally. Tears broke free, warm on her cold face. No thanks, Nora warned, hugging her tight. Just swear, when you're standing tall again, we make him rue the day he met Lila Grayson. Her watch buzzed, another kid in crisis. Lila nodded, wiped her cheeks, and ran. Lives first. Lila Grayson wiped her tears, straightened her spine, and shot Nora a shaky grin. Deal, she said, already stepping back toward the OR doors. Lives to save first. Nora smirked, juggling 2 steaming Tim Hortons cups. I'll tame the banks, you go stitch up the world. Lila turned, her sneakers squeaking on the hospital floor. As she scrubbed in for her second emergency, a kid's punctured lung, she whispered to her unborn child, Ethan Blackwell burned our past. He doesn't own our future. The scrub nurse caught her eye. Set, Nurse Grayson? Always, Lila said, hands steady, focus cutting through the chaos. 3 months later, Lila perched on Nora's sagging couch in her East Van flat, a knit blanket draped over her growing belly. Rain drummed the window as she stared at a Globe and Mail spread. Ethan Blackwell and Naomi Sato, all gloss and gold, their Singapore wedding splashed across the business pages. A union of titans, it gushed. Quit torturing yourself, Nora said, yanking the magazine away. This is your spotlight. She slid a letter across the coffee table. St. Paul's Hospital letterhead. Grant approved. Pediatric Airway Innovation Lead. Lila Grayson. Lila blinked, sitting up. They're funding it all? Every dime, Nora said, grinning. He's posing for cameras. You're saving kids' lives. Her phone buzzed. Claire Blackwell, Ethan's sister again. After endless ignored calls, her latest text pleaded, I want to help you and the baby. This isn't right. Lila swiped it away. She hit up the ward too, Nora said, sipping her coffee. Keep saying Toronto's your fix. No way, Lila said, hand on her stomach. Vancouver's ours. The legal envelopes kept coming, weekly packets of fine print. Nora's cousin, Leo Park, pored over them at a commercial drive noodle joint. Silence, money, he'd said, slurping ramen. He's scared you'll spill about the kid. He can shove it, Lila had snapped, fork mid-twirl. Smart, Leo grinned. Take his cash, skip the signature. We've got him by the throat. Now, Lila opened the latest envelope, smirking at Nora. Time to play. She fired up her laptop, pulling up Leo's financial tracker. Small, legal investments stacking slow and sure. How long? Nora asked, leaning in. 3 years, Lila said, eyes glinting. I'll have shares that bite. He'll never sniff it out. A kick fluttered under her ribs. Feel that? She murmured. We're coming for him. Her smartwatch chirped. PEDS crisis. Work calls, she said, hauling herself up. Nora shouted after her. Shower next week. Nurses only low-key. Lila paused, voice catching. You're too good to me. We're your pack, Nora said, sharp. Blood's overrated. Driving through the drizzle, Lila passed a glowing billboard. Ethan's smug face over Blackwell Ventures Singapore Tower. Tomorrow starts here, it bragged. Not our tomorrow, she told her baby, accelerating as her phone pinged, a critical case rolling in. Ethan could build his glass castles. She'd forge something fiercer grit, care, and a reckoning he'd never see coming. At 39 weeks, officially on leave, Lila stood in the OR, hands buried in a 7-year-old's chest. Congenital defect, a race against collapse. Your pressure's spiking, Dr. Singh warned, glancing at the screen. I know my limits, Lila shot back, threading a suture. This kid's not dying on me. Nora, opposite her, pressed. "Step out. I've got it." "Finishing," Lila growled, fighting a contraction. "There, hold it steady." The monitor beeped, stable rhythm locked in. "Good," the anesthesiologist said. Lila pulled back, breathless. "Close up, Nora. Labor's here." It blurred. Gurney wheels, a gown swapped for scrubs, her voice cutting through. "The kid, still breathing?" "Rock solid," Nora said, gripping her hand. "Your show now." 14 hours later, Finn Ethan Grayson roared into the world, lungs fierce, hair a dark tangle. Lila held him, tears mixing with sweat. "He's got his nose," she whispered. "He's got your guts," Nora said, fierce. "Born mid-crisis, pure Grayson." A knock. Flowers burst in, a cascade of daisies. Card. "Congrats, Claire Blackwell." "How?" Lila started. "Ward chatter," Nora muttered. "Binham?" "No," Lila said, eyes on Finn. "Window. She's kin, whatever else." Dr. Singh popped in. "Your patient's golden. Parents want a word." "Say Nurse Grayson's resting after saving their kid and popping out hers," Nora crowed. Lila tuned them out, tracing Finn's grip. Ethan's fingers, her fire. "Hey, Finn," she breathed. "We're a team." Her phone flashed. Blackwell Ventures opened Singapore HQ. She glanced at the daisies, then Finn. Two futures split here, one sour, one steel. She picked steel. A resident ducked in. "Nurse Grayson, sorry, need your eyes on." She just birthed a human," Nora barked. "What's the trouble?" Lila cut in. Finn nestled close. "Newborn. Tachypnea," he said. "Start oxygen," Lila said. "I'll scan notes tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" Nora sputtered. "Wheelchair," Lila grinned, kissing Finn's brow. "Right, mate?" He gurgled, and certainty rooted deep. They'd be legends. 2 years on, Finn, 2 and fearless, waved a 48-piece orca puzzle, solved fast. "Mama, see?" He beamed from their Kitsilano living room. "Genius," Lila called from her desk, tweaking her speech for a global pediatric summit. Her airway research was making waves. Nora lounged nearby, flipping a chart. "Most tots chew blocks. He's a prodigy." "He's Finn," Lila said, underlining a line. "Born to shine." The TV flared. Blackwell stock slides. Reed Blackwell, Naomi Sato. Divorce rumored. Nora killed the sound. "Whoops." Lila Grayson stiffened, brushing off Nora's glance. "It's fine," she said, voice clipped. "Claire called last week. I knew." Nora sat up, coffee cup pausing midair. "You're picking up her calls now?" "She sends Finn books," Lila shrugged, eyes on her laptop. "Math ones, coding stuff, smart picks." Nora's brows lifted. "The shares?" 15%, Lila said, low and steady. "Another year, maybe 2. Finn toddled in, clutching his 100-piece puzzle box. "Help, Mama?" "Take a break," Nora urged, nodding at him. "Presentation can wait." Lila checked her watch. 3 hours till surgery. "All right, champ, let's crack it." Spreading pieces on the rug, her phone pinged. Johns Hopkins. They wanted her airway technique at their Baltimore conference. Finn dropped a piece on her head, giggling. "Incoming!" She scooped him into a hug, breathing his apple-scented hair. "What if we hit Baltimore, buddy? I'll talk about fixing little lungs, then we'll see the fish." "Aquarium?" Finn's eyes lit up. "Promise," she said, ruffling his curls. Nora leaned in the doorway. "Next month, right? Same time Ethan's getting that tech award?" "Yeah," Lila said, voice flat. "Big city, small world." Finn pointed at the muted TV. Ethan's face still lingered from the news clip. "Like my picture?" Lila's chest tightened. He kept Ethan's company headshot in his robot book. Found it himself online. A tech whiz at 2. "Yeah, bud," she managed. "Like yours. Need more green pieces?" He nodded, diving back in. Nora moved to unmute the TV, but Lila waved her off. A month later, the Henderson Children's Hospital Gala glittered in Vancouver's downtown core. Chandeliers casting gold over the ballroom. The elite sipping wine against the backdrop of Bird Inlet's dark shimmer. Lila adjusted her sapphire gown, Finn's tiny hand warm in hers. His mini tux drew smiles, his serious nod melting photographers. "Ready, buddy?" she whispered. "Ready, Nurse Mama," he he said, all business, sparking chuckles nearby. Nora, sleek and crimson, appeared. They're set backstage. I'll grab Finn. No, Lila cut in, firm. He's with me. Letting Finn present her award had ruffled feathers, but Lila was past caring. Let them see her truth. A nurse, a mom, a force. The room buzzed as she guided Finn toward the stage, nodding at peers. Then she saw him. Ethan Blackwell by the bar, older, sharper, his suit still screaming wealth. Blackwell Ventures was a gala sponsor. She should have guessed. Their eyes locked. His widened, hers narrowed. Nurse Grayson, an organizer chirped, oblivious. You're up in 5. Lila knelt to Finn, ignoring the weight of Ethan's stare. Remember our drill? Give you the prize, Finn recited. Say good job. Spot on, she said, kissing his forehead, feeling Ethan's gaze like a brand. The spotlight hit as they climbed the stage, Finn's steps syncing with hers. 3 years ago, she began, voice ringing clear, I learned something about small lungs. They're tough. Tougher than you'd think. They mend, they grow, and sometimes they show us what courage really is. Her technique had saved dozens. Tonight, it'd claim her place. Ethan hadn't budged, just watched, a statue by the bar, as his son, unmet, handed her the crystal award. Finn gripped it tight, voice piping through the mic. Good job, Nurse Mama! Laughter rippled, then applause roared, standing, thunderous. Lila pulled Finn close, cameras blazing, her eyes locked anywhere but the bar. Later, at their table, Nora leaned in. He bolted, right after your speech. Lila nodded, watching Finn explain lung valves to a charmed doctor. Good. He looked gutted, Nora added. Seeing Finn must have shown him what he threw away, Lila finished, voice ice. His call, not mine. Finn raced back, climbing her lap. Mama, Dr. Lee says I can see the machines tomorrow. Did you say thanks? She asked, nuzzling him. Yep. And I asked about the ventilator, like you showed me. He launched into a toddler's take on airflow, spot on enough to stun. Across the room, by the exit, Claire Blackwell stood. Silver gown, eyes wet. Lila gave a faint nod. Claire mirrored it, then slipped into the night. Mama, Finn tugged her sleeve. Fish tank again? Soon, love, she said, taking his hand. An orderly rushed up. Nurse Grayson, emergency inbound. We need you. Lila glanced at Nora, who scooped Finn. Go, Nora said. We've got the fish. Fix the lung, Mama, Finn called, and her heart swelled. Fierce, full, alive. The next morning, the ward buzzed. Blackwell's CEO exits gala early. A tablet headline blared. Lila ignored it, scribbling post-op notes. Last night's save, another kid breathing easy, mattered more. Nurse Grayson, an aide hesitated. Call for you. Singapore. Not interested, Lila said, eyes on her chart. It's not him, the aide said. Naomi Sato. About your shares. Lila's pen stilled. She'd been sly. Shell companies, Claire's tips, stacking stock under the radar. Take a message, she said. She mentioned Claire Blackwell's health too, the aide added. What health? Lila's head snapped up. Nora appeared, chart in hand. Stage 4 pancreatic. Labs just came. She's admitted today. Lila's pen cracked, ink bleeding over her fingers. How long? Weeks, maybe, Nora said, passing a napkin. She's asking for you as her nurse. Lila laughed, sharp and hollow. I'm pediatrics, not oncology. She needs you, Nora pressed. You know why? Finn's weekly video chats with Claire, robots, puzzles, her quiet amends while Ethan drifted, flashed through Lila's mind. Her phone pinged. Blackwell stock tanks amid turmoil. Claire's oncology room was stark. Her poise shrunk under thin sheets. Wondered who'd spill it first, she rasped, smirking faintly. Your ex-sister-in-law, oddly, Lila said, checking vitals by instinct. Naomi called. She's prepping to ditch him, Claire said, eyes glinting. Wants allies. Thinks my illness softens you. Lila paused, realization dawning. The board's fracturing. My shares could swing it. Claire gripped her hand, frail but firm. That's not why I'm here. I know, Lila said, squeezing back. Finn'll want to see you. Ethan's clueless, Claire murmured, tears brimming. Cancer, divorce, Finn's smarts, none of it. You want him to know? Lila asked, steady. I want my nephew, Claire said, voice breaking. While I've got time. Claire waved a thin hand, her voice a rasp. The rest is business. Lila's smartwatch buzzed. Another emergency. Go, Claire urged, eyes glinting. But when Naomi calls again, listen. Revenge and justice blur sometimes. Lila paused at the door, gripping the frame. I'll bring Finn after surgery. He's got Ethan's brain, Claire said, soft but sharp. You're steel, though. Thank the stars for that. Lila bolted to the OR, mind spinning. Naomi Sato wanted a partner. Claire was fading. Ethan in Singapore was about to crash. Her phone pinged as she scrubbed in. Naomi Sato files for divorce. Claims Blackwell Ventures control dot. She tied her mask, a faint smirk tugging her lips. The board was shifting, and she held the winning hand. Later, in the hospital lounge, the TV blared. Fraud allegations. Slam Blackwell Ventures. Ethan's face flashed up, gaunt and strained. Mama! Finn chirped, waving a tablet with solved logic puzzles. Stuff for kids twice his age. Math done! You're a wizard, Lila said, ruffling his hair. Ready for Grandma? Before he could nod, Nora burst in, thrusting her phone forward. Check this. An email from Naomi's legal team. Urgent. Your 18% stake in Blackwell Ventures. 18? Lila's voice spiked. I've got 15. Claire signed hers to Finn yesterday, Nora whispered. Legal, locked before her new meds. Lila's phone rang. Naomi again, relentless. Answer, Nora pressed. It's go time. Lila glanced at Finn, humming over his tablet. Stay with him, she told Nora, stepping out. Grayson here. You've dodged me long enough, Naomi said, voice like polished glass. We need to talk. About my son's shares? Lila watched Finn through the glass. Yours plus his? You've got the biggest chunk now, Naomi said. Ethan's blind to the boy. That shifts soon. Careful with ultimatums, Lila warned, low. Not a threat, a deal, Naomi countered. Back me on the board and Ethan's out. Isn't that your end game? My end game, Lila said, measured, is Finn's tomorrow. Then we're aligned, Naomi replied. Singapore next week. Your vote seals it. Her watch beeped, Claire's vitals dipping. I'll think it over, Lila said, hanging up, and raced to oncology. Finn was already there, tiny hand in Claire's, her breathing shallow but steady. She's holding, Nora reported. For now. They want me in Singapore, Lila said, scanning the chart. Naomi's striking. Go, Nora said. I've got them. Claire stirred. Singapore? Yeah, Lila said. Naomi's move. Show him, Claire murmured, what he lost. What's that, Gran? Finn piped up, innocent. Claire squeezed his fingers. That big mistake's cost big. Lila's travel agent buzzed. First class to Singapore. Booked. Watching Finn chatter math to Claire, a chill settled in her gut. Ethan was about to learn he'd ditched more than a fiancé 3 years ago. He'd ditched his legacy. The Singapore boardroom hushed as Lila stood, Ethan paling at her entrance. Naomi sat poised, a chess master mid-game. The board will hear from Lila Grayson, the chair announced, representing 18% controlling interest. Before I start, Lila said, voice steady, a glimpse of what's at stake. She plugged in her laptop, a video rolled. Finn at his desk, cracking code puzzles, giggling with Claire. This is Finn Grayson, she said, eyes sweeping the room. Age 3, IQ 162. My son. She paused, locking Ethan's gaze. Orson. The room exploded. Gasps, shouts. Ethan gripped the table, knuckles bone white. Her phone buzzed. Nora. Claire's crashing. Hurry. I'll keep it short. Lila cut through the noise. I'm voting my shares in Finn's for Naomi Sato's restructuring. Ethan Blackwell is out as CEO. She snapped her laptop shut as chaos erupted. Ethan frozen. Grayson, Naomi called as she strode out. My lawyer's your contact, Lila said, not breaking stride. I've got a patient. The first flight back wasn't fast enough. Claire slipped away an hour before Lila landed, Finn at her side to the end. She left this, Nora said, handing over an envelope when Lila rushed in. Inside, a letter and a flash drive. Lila, board's done by now. Hope you showed them Finn's light. Here's my last play Ethan's merger papers. The fake marriage dates, the shady stock moves. I've tracked it all since he walked out. Not for spite, for Finn's shield. Love him big enough for me, too. Claire. Lila plugged it in. Fraud, clear as day. Ethan hadn't just left. He'd cheated his way out. Her phone rang. Ethan. Don't, Nora warned. Lila answered cold. Silence crackled. Why? He croaked. You lost that privilege 3 years back, she said. Company's Naomi's. Truth's yours to choke on. Lila, goodbye, Ethan. She hung. Blocked him. Done. Weeks later, in her St. Paul's office, Lila read court papers. Visitation denied. Finn's 4th birthday invite sat unopened beside them. Ethan had shown at Claire's funeral, lurking in the back, gone before she and Finn reached the wake. Her desk phone flashed. Blackwell Ventures bankruptcy looms. Grayson? An aide poked in. Mr. Blackwell's downstairs. Won't budge without you. Says he's got papers from Claire. Lila exhaled, sharp. Give me 5. She found him by the hospital's fish tank. Finn's spot. Suit rumpled, eyes sunken. Security's coming, she said, arms crossed. Quick then, he said, holding out an envelope. Claire's lawyers just freed this for Finn. Lila took it, keeping distance. Inside, Claire's will, naming Finn her heir, stocks, trusts, a fortune Ethan couldn't touch. Naomi's got it all, he said, voice hollow. Company's dead. I'm done. Fitting, Lila said, steel in her tone. You wrote that ending 3 years ago. I want to meet him, Ethan said, voice low, desperate. Lila's eyes flashed, cutting him off. He's not a company you can buy back. He's my son. The one you ditched. Our son, he corrected, soft as a plea. Her laugh sliced the air, bitter and cold. You lost that claim when you picked a merger over us. He stepped closer, hands empty. The merger was a mistake. All of it was wrong. Let me... Security's here, Lila said, nodding at the guards closing in. Goodbye, Ethan. Wait. He thrust out a second envelope. For him, when he's older, please. She snatched it, if only to end this. You should know. He's outsmarting your top engineers at 4. Ethan flinched, pain carving his face. Like me? No, Lila snapped. Like me. I'm the one who stayed. She watched security haul him out, then strode to her next case. Lungs to save, lives to mend. The envelope sat heavy in her pocket, but they'd wait. Later, with Finn asleep under a quilt of stars, she opened them. Claire's letter spilled love and a trust fund for Finn's dreams. Schools, labs, whatever he'd chase. Ethan's was a mess of regret, excuses thin as the rain outside. Lila sealed them in a fresh envelope, dated for Finn's 18th birthday, then wrote her own. Finn, your dad built a tower of glass that broke. I built you. Easiest choice I ever made. Love, Mama. Her phone buzzed. Blackwell Ventures assets seized. Ex-CEO Ethan Blackwell probed Dot. She switched it off and peeked at Finn. Books on robotics and respiration piled by his bed. Claire's last gifts scattered among them. Some choices echo, she thought, but they ripple in ways no one sees coming. 3 years later, the Vancouver Medical Forum roared with applause. The Pioneer in Pediatric Care Award goes to Lila Grayson. Finn, now 6, sat front row between Nora and his favorite orderly, grinning wide in a tiny blazer. Lila took the stage, her voice steady. 3 years back, I spoke of small lungs. Today, it's about bigger ones, the ones that keep pumping through the worst storms. Her airway technique was global now, saving thousands. But her eyes kept finding Finn, bouncing with his own surprise. At the end, he darted up, award in hand. Mama fixes lungs, he announced into the mic. And I'm gonna help. I got into the gifted program. The crowd gasped, meant for teens, not a 6-year-old. Lila pulled him close, tears stinging. We'll fix them together, bud. At the reception, Nora nudged her, passing a Vancouver Sun clip. Ex-Tech CEO volunteers at Singapore Kids Clinics. He's gone again, she said. Lila nodded, watching Finn sketch ventilator designs for stunned doctors. Let him chase ghosts elsewhere. Dean's asking if I can start next month, Finn called, sprinting over. She smiled, leaving the clipping behind. We've got lungs to save, right? Right, he chirped, and they moved on, past and present parting like the tide. 3 more years passed. The St. Paul's Children's Wing gleamed with a new Sinclair Blackwell Center for Pediatric Innovation. Finn, 9, adjusted his mini lab coat beside Lila as they unveiled it. Below, Dr. Finn Grayson, youngest certified researcher. His pediatric ventilator tweak, sketched at 7, honed at 8, now tested at 9, drew global eyes. The crowd was small, staff, a few reporters. If anyone saw Ethan lurking at the back, they didn't care. He'd aged hard, his Singapore redemption etched in weary lines. Lila spoke, voice warm. My partner, Dr. Finn Grayson, will share his breakthrough. Finn stepped up, all confidence. Lungs need flow, he began, diving into specs that left surgeons blinking. Lila watched, chest tight, Claire's kindness in his words, her own fire in his drive. Ans. As the group thinned, Ethan lingered by the plaque, tracing Claire's name. Their eyes met. No words, just a nod. He turned and left, a shadow fading into the rain. Ready for your first case, Doc? Lila asked Finn, who was already swiping through charts on his tablet. Locked in, he said, then grinned. Race you to the lab? She laughed, watching him bolt, coat flapping, future wide. 9 years ago, she'd stood in her kitchen, pregnancy test in hand, world cracking. Now, it stretched beyond her wildest hopes. You coming, Mama? Finn called back. Always, she said, following her son into their next fight. Some choices echo forever, but sometimes they bloom into miracles.